Guess what, folks? It's time. It's time for 9 and Wine from NBC9 KTSM Television and our friends here at El Paso Winefest, our sommeliers, Mike Hackett, Chris Lane. Love having you guys as part of this podcast, and it's kind of fun to do because one of the things that we always do is, of course, drink wine, drink bubbles, drink champagne. We drink something, and that's kind of the best part of this whole thing. But before we get going, kind of like a word from our sponsor, El Paso Winefest is going into its 13th year, and that's pretty amazing. 13 years of anything in El Paso is a pretty cool thing, and to have a wine fest or a wine and food event that has achieved the level that the El Paso Winefest has achieved is pretty amazing, mostly because of the two guys that are sitting right here who practically invented this thing, along with a little help. But Chris, give us a quick recap on what's going on for this year.
Yeah, like you said, it was 13 years ago we started this up, and it's grown and it's grown. For instance, last year we had 152 wineries from all over the world. I mean, this is some serious wine. This is not, just a local thing. This is a worldwide wine festival. And it's the quality of wine has really slowly but surely gotten better and better and better.
Way better. It was amazing last year.
Yeah. And we have about 25 restaurants too, right? Serving some
of the best in El Paso.
Yes, 25 great restaurants, an amazingly large number of wines, and a lot of people having a really good time with music and a great day. And also, you didn't mention it, but people can buy wine at the El Paso Wine Fest.
Absolutely. That makes us a little different from almost any other wine fest I've been to. We actually sell wine there. It's probably the best price you can buy wine from. It's because it's not full retail. It's somewhere hovering. We like to keep the price down. We make a little bit on it, but we just want it to be a win-win situation.
Yeah, so it's way cool. If you want to learn more, go to elpasowinefest.com. There's even tickets for sale there already for this year, which is on November
6th and 7th.
6th and 7th.
6th and 7th. So,
yeah, we've moved Sunday to Friday.
Okay. So now Sunday is called Friday?
Yeah.
Is it
It'll be the best happy hour in town.
It used to be 7 o'clock, now it's 8 o'clock?
It'll be the best happy hour in town.
Okay, that's going to be a lot of fun. ElPasoWinefest.com. Let's get started with 9 and Wine. We started with Bubbles last time. I'll call that Bubbles 1. It's in our archives. You can always see it anytime you want because it's available on demand. And now this is Bubbles 2, and I believe we're talking French bubbles today, aren't we?
Yeah, last time we just did kind of an overview of bubbles in general. I mean, almost every country makes some form of bubbles, and a lot of people just get confused about it. So our first one last time was about just an overview of everything. So today we're just going to take the deep dive into basically the two main varieties of French bubbles, which would be champagne, as we all know. You want some champagne? See what I'm?
Whoa! So much for
was that what you call the whisper? Is that called the whisper?
That was a drop bottle in the parking lot. There was no chance for.
So that wasn't a whisper.
That was not the whisper we were looking
for.
Trying
to. The goal is to open it like a whisper.
The goal is to make as little noise as possible. And I just spoke of it a little while ago. 50% of the time, I still ends up popping, even as hard as I'm trying for it not to. But on my test, I blew it too. So I mean, he actually wrote it down on learn to open champagne. I was like, I've only opened 1,000 bottles, but of course, the one time you screw up is in front of the examiner.
Okay, folks. So here's what we're going to do. Mike is going to show you the bottle. Show
we got a bottle of Nicolas Fouillat.
Yeah, Fouillat.
Fouillat. My French is horrible. It's a good thing we got a good friend here who speaks French fluently. From a little town, it looks like it's Chouly, France. Champagne is unique in that whole area is its own AOC.
Just one AOC. I think that's what's area. It's a huge area. It should, by all rights, have 20 or 30 AOCs, but it doesn't. It has one. But it's by design because they want to be able to take grapes from anywhere and mix them together. So when you have an AOC, it all has to come from within that AOC. So they were smart, and what they said was, well, then the whole region of Champagne is going to be an AOC. That way we can take grapes from any part of it. Because sometimes the slopes are better, sometimes the hilltops are better, sometimes the hill bottoms are better. It depends on the weather. And so they're sourcing grapes from all different parts, and by being just one AOC, they can do that.
Do you think that's how she won elected office?
Could be.
Had something to do with the bubbles?
Could be.
Because there was more than one AOC.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So let's talk specifically about this bottle. Did you have some thoughts on this that we're talking about? Or do we want to kind of dive into the continuation of the last conversation?
This happens to be my mother's favorite label. And it's way hard on the yeast. I mean, and she loves yeast. This is one of the yeastiest champagnes. It is so yeasty that is quite frequently thought to not be good. That the bottle has, passed, that it's too old or something's wrong with it because it is so incredibly yeasty. There are arguments that, well, the whole point of champagne is to be yeasty.
Right.
So if a little yeast is good, then a lot of yeast is better. But I disagree. This one's a little too yeasty for me, but it's way up there.
Yeah,
I haven't had
you
a
get
sip.
it right on the nose.
Oh
right
boy,
away. It's like wow.
I almost coughed when I smelled it.
I thought, oh my gosh, did I grab a bad bottle?
And this is really kind of an off-track kind of question, but it's always stuck in my head. The bottle we're looking at says champagne, has the name of the maker. It has where it's from in France, and it says Reserve Exclusive, Brut. That's all in English. This comes from France. Do they make a different version of the label for when they sell it in France?
Well, those are all words that are French and English. It's the same. There's 7,000 French words in the English language. So
Reserve Exclusive is French?
Reserve is exclusive. Oh, I didn't know it was exclusive. Yeah, sorry. But Reserve is French and Brut is French. And
would the label be different in France?
You know what? Hold on. Exclusive is actually French. Exclusive. It's the same word.
I figure because of the punctuation on the E.
Right.
Reserve
exclusive.
Well, I know it's a nonsensical question, but it just sticks in my head because I wonder.
It is French.
Because it's in English and in French at the same time, and they don't have to have two labels.
I wonder how long it took them to figure out which words can we use that are in English also. But yeah, there's 7,000 French words in the English language, so we have a lot of French words. Of course, they're pronounced slightly differently, but spelled the same.
Where do we leave off at Bubbles 1, our first Bubbles episode?
We covered all the bubbles.
We covered all the bubbles. We kind of did an overview about where champagne came from.
Right. We covered Cava, we covered Cremant, we covered Cava, Franciacorta, Prosecco, all of those.
Touched on them.
Okay. So we're just doing France today, and so obviously champagne is the best known of the bubbles in France, but what a lot of people don't know is the Cremant. Cremant is actually, I believe there's 5 areas that are allowed to make Cremant. I always thought it
more now.
Are they?
Yeah, I was just reading about it. I was crazy because they've just recently, 2014, they created a couple.
Jura. I remember I saw one from the Jura the other day that I didn't know they had the right to do that. But
Dies, how do they say it? Dies, like Dies.
Okay.
Is the newest. Yeah,
so the ones that you're going to see the most are Bordeaux, Burgundy, Alsace, and Loire. Those are probably the biggest, the most established ones. There's
Limou.
I don't know. I have to look it up. I'll do a little research on this.
Yeah.
There's an argument that the Burgundy would be the closest to Champagne because they actually use the exact same grapes. Because Burgundy and Champagne are close. They're the closest other wine region in France to Champagne would be Burgundy. So they use it's going to be all the same ones, which are Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier, and Chardonnay. So a lot of times, this is a funny question too. People always say, are there any white wines that are made from red grapes?
Oh yeah,
all the time, all day long in Champagne. All day long they make white or clear light champagne from red grapes.
And what color is it after it's processed and aged?
So it depends. I mean, there are basically 2 colors, and it would be blanc de blanc, which is it just means means a blonde or white drink made from a white grape. Blanc de noir means a white champagne that's made from a red grape. It's noir, it means black, but still they mean dark.
And do many of the big names, like let's say a Cristal, do they make them in both?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, for sure.
So the rosés are made from your Pinot Noir and Pinot Meunier. Going to be heavier in that. They may have a little Chardonnay in them, I think, for balance. But Champagne is a blended wine, so they blend years and
areas
and lots and grapes as well.
And that's why there's no vintage on Champagne, is because it's blended?
Because it has different years in it.
Because it has different years.
Yeah.
What they want is not necessarily I mean, people get mad at me for saying this, but not necessarily to make the absolute best champagne. What they want to do is make the same champagne year after year after year after year. And every once in a while, there'll be a stellar year, and then they will put a vintage on it, and then it's called a vintage champagne, and then they go for a lot more. But that's the only time that they really make a tête de cuvée or something like that. It's when there's an exceptional year.
So if I go to Specs or Total Wine or wherever I buy my wine, I will find some that are vintage and most that are not.
Oh, by far most.
And you'll pay a lot more for that
used
vintage.
to seeing a vintage on the champagne.
Yeah, I'd say 99% would be non-vintage. It's rare to see. There's not a date on this, right?
No, there's not.
No.
And there's not one on that.
No.
So, and I don't even recall seeing dates mostly on most of the champagne.
And that's why, because they want to mix. It's a little like, I don't want to get too deep down the rabbit hole here, but it's a little like a Solera with sherry. The point of the Solera is to basically have the exact same sherry coming out at the bottom after 7 years, every year being exactly the same. And because they're blending different years, they're percolating, at least 3 years together.
So people understand. I mean, I've wandered the whole Champagne area. I think I even told you before, I stayed at the home of Claude Lebrun, who lives in Epernay. Mm-hmm. So I know that area pretty well from driving around. But a lot of people don't know that the region where where all the champagne comes from, the cities, the names of the cities. Can you go over that real quickly? Like there's Epernay. Where else is there?
I mean, the two basic ones. And although it's spelled Reims, it's pronounced completely different. It's completely counterintuitive. It's pronounced Reims. Reims is the main one. That's a big one with the big cathedral.
I can't even say that, by the way.
I know, it's hard to do. It's that R way back in there.
Yes.
But
can't do it.
Yeah, and there's not even an R in there, except for the first letter, right?
The first letter.
But and then Epernay is the second one, and then it's covered, like France is. You can't throw a rock and not hit a village in some direction. So there's hundreds of little villages in there, but the two main cities are Reims and Epernay.
And where's Moët Chandon, for instance? Everybody knows that one.
I'm sure it's Reims. I'm pretty sure it's Reims.
Yeah.
I don't actually know.
And what about Cristal?
Like I said, Reims is by far the biggest one.
Right.
But it's not to say that some of their grapes didn't come from the Epernay region. Those are just cities, and
they're right next to each other, aren't they?
Well, it's France. Nothing's too far away from each other in France.
How far apart are they?
Oh, I don't know. And
30 miles?
No, I'd say more like 15, 20.
Oh, that's right next to each other.
Yeah, pretty close.
That's like Cañutillo to downtown El Paso.
No, I agree. I agree.
Yes.
I agree.
I would call that the same area.
Right.
Yeah. So let's talk a little bit about specifics here. Let's talk about the two wines that we have, the two champagnes that we have, and let's continue that conversation on Bubbles from France.
So the unique thing with champagne, one of the beautiful things about it is, and it's so difficult to make, because every grape is hand-picked. So there's no machines used. They go out, they hand-pick the bunches, or sometimes even down to the grapes, and then it's crushed and fermented right there in the vineyards, where they make the still wine, and then it goes through a dual process. Cremant is the same way. It goes through the same process. Now they're using more stainless steel tanks, I understand, except for like 3 or 4 of the houses are still using wooden barrels.
For the first fermentation.
For the first fermentation,
right.
Yeah.
So what to tie in, what goes back to what we were, I think in my opinion, the most important part about the whole process is after they make the still wine, because that's when they make the cuvée, and that's where the real expert comes in, and he takes some still wine. So they're not saying we're going to take some grapes from Epernay and we're going to take some grapes from this place and we're going to put them all together. No. They make each one of those makes a different still wine, and then the expert, this is where the real rubber hits the road. He mixes those still wines together properly, and then it goes into the second fermentation. So I think in my opinion, the most critical part is making the cuvée.
That's the art.
Yeah. Everything else is just physical. You're just riddling, you're aging, you're riddling. I mean, there's no art to it. The rest of the process. It's important, but there's no art to it.
Do you call a champagne house a winery?
Sure, why not?
I guess.
I mean,
why wouldn't it? It's all wine.
Good question.
It's a winery. Yeah.
I
It's
bet
not a champagne.
I'm sure the French probably have another word for it, champonniers or something. I don't know. I'm not sure actually. It's a good question. It's a good
I was
question.
just wondering, is it called a winery? Because I call them wineries because to me it's wine. It's just a different kind of wine.
Right. I think another observation before we get off of champagne is it's a deep plunge. It's really hard to get to know this girl. I mean, it really is. Sure, you like it, at the beginning, it's great, it's bubbles, it's fun and everything else. But just to give you some latitude here, and the first level of sommelier comes with a course that's taught by 4 masters. And when I went through the course, it just so happened that somebody was in the class, and she always asked each one when he was done with his segment, "What's your favorite wine in the whole world?" To a man, all 4 said champagne. And we're talking, come on, think of the great wines in this world. Think of the Screaming Eagles and the First Growth Bordeaux's and the Hermitages and things like that. Yeah. And every one of them said the best wine in the world is champagne.
Were champagnes and bubbly historically sweeter? Oh, yeah. And why has that shifted? Well,
I'd say the first half is very easy to answer. Absolutely, they were sweeter. People liked them sweeter. I don't know if I can answer the second half. I don't know why it's changed.
I think it's really market demand. I mean, when it was first made, it was the Brits who were doing it to begin with, and they were doing it by accident, right? They get the barrels of bubbles of champagne, they get barrels of wine, and meanwhile it's going through a second fermentation, and they would get it there, and then they would want it a little sweeter. So when they bottled it, they actually added a little bit of sugar each bottle. Well, that started the yeast up again and got your second fermentation in the bottle. They like sweeter wine, but as time went by, from what I understand, it was the Brits who actually liked the Brutes more. They wanted drier wine. They didn't want something that was so sweet, and it's just evolved. It's a market thing. As the market changes, so does the amount of dosage that they add to it.
I guess so. I can tell you, though, that 200 years ago, the most sought-after wine was German sweet wines. Germany makes great sweet wines. They really do. Yeah. But it's fallen out of vogue, and I'm not exactly sure why. But another observation, it is actually coming back a little bit. Not sweet, but they're a little off dry, and you're about to taste that in this one. This is, I think, I'll look at the label, but I definitely taste a little bit of sugar in there. And by the way, just so you all know, sugar is not just, they don't just put sugar in. They're putting grape juice back in. So it's the natural sugar from this. So it's not like we're putting anything kind of foreign in there. They're just putting grape juice in there that's very sweet.
There's no C&H bag of
right. Exactly.
Exactly.
Well, and while we're talking, I'll start opening this. It does say Brut, but you tell me. I'd like to hear what you have to say. But it is coming back.
I'm always anxious to try them.
One observation I'd like to make, and this is the Crémant from Alsace. It's the region that my family comes from. They're very strict on what grapes can be grown there, and Chardonnay is not one of them. But there is a I don't know if it's a loophole, but you are allowed to grow some Chardonnay only for this. But ironically, they really don't use it as much. So this is going to be mostly Pinot Gris, some Riesling. It's going to be a mixture of different things, just like it is in Champagne, but totally different grapes than Champagne. Other than you have Pinot Noir in Alsace. So a little confusing. But anyway, different grapes, high quality, great product, and we're about to try some. But we'll keep talking. Oh, one thing I'd like to say too is, these things always come with a little zipper so that you can take them off.
It didn't work when
it almost never works. It almost never works.
I think you tried to show us in the last episode, didn't you?
Could be, but
and I can't remember if it worked or not.
I was schooled to just don't even mess with it. Just use your knife on your wine key and just forego it. And technically I'm not supposed to turn the bottle. I'm just supposed to do the knife, but old habits die.
Your sommelier trainers will be aghast at your behavior.
Don't do as I do. Do as I say.
Hey, how do you get to be a
so this is an Alsatian Crémant. So you're going to get Alsatian grapes. If we go down to Le Mans or one of the other Bourgogne, then you're going to have totally different grapes. So the Crémant, the difference is with Champagne, you only get 3 grapes, no exceptions. Chardonnay, Pinot Noir, Pinot Meunier. Crémants, it's all regional, And they still have rules about how much you can use. So there's a percentage, for example, of Pinot Gris that has to go into the bottle. And then they're allowed to use different amounts of the other grapes to get the balanced flavor.
By the way, did you notice he got the whisper this time?
He did.
I did.
You mastered the whisper.
And if you guys want to know the trick, or one of the many tricks, one is you have to have a strong hold on it. But if you do a 45 right at the, don't take it out like this. Take it out as far as you can, and then turn it to a 45. You have much more control, so that the opening is just a little. It's not the full circumference all at once. It's just a fraction of it. So right at the end, you turn it as a 45, and it actually makes it easier to open, but doesn't always work, by the way.
Hey, we're going to have NBC 9 and Wine viewers expert when they open champagne or bubbles, and they're going to know the difference between one and the other.
I hope so.
Okay, we're going to try
So look
this.
at the difference in the mousse,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. That is one thing that Champagne's known for, having tons of tiny little bubbles.
They were a little bigger, though, than the previous.
I like this.
It's delicious
like
for
this.
a quarter of the price.
Really? Quarter price of this? Mm-hmm. I actually like it better than that.
Oh, much more.
See, there's a
it's
good
an
example
excellent
where I
product.
said, I don't go by the price,
What
I
you
go by
used to,
what it tastes like to me, how it hits me.
Right.
This has a more desirable flavor to me.
Well, I mean, Mike brought one that's very unique.
Yeah.
That's very unique.
And I apologize.
My mother loves that one. That's her favorite one. Ironically, too, my French mother doesn't like bubbles. So when we do a lot of champagne tasting, she actually has a spoon on a necklace that she just very discreetly gets the bubbles out of the glass.
That's funny.
It
My
is
wife
funny.
would like that one better. Why? Because it costs more.
I got it.
She likes everything. Jenny likes everything that costs more. So I got to figure out how to make more money so I keep up with it.
I would definitely say, though, that the champagne has a better mouthfeel to it. This is a little rougher. It's the bubbles are
they're bigger.
little bigger and harsher. I mean, that's one thing. If you have ever had the opportunity to have Dom Perignon, it is incredible how small those bubbles are. I mean, it's really noticeable how tiny those bubbles are.
You know, when you talk about that, that brings up an interesting question for me. I've heard that language used forever. Tiny bubbles.
Don
Ho. Yeah. I knew you'd say that. Or, larger bubbles. Now, when you say that, what specifically are you referring to?
Literally the size of the bubble.
It's the size of the bubble and the way they're coming out. It has to do with the amount of atmospheric pressure that's in the bottle when they do this. So the region has a difference, and the altitude where the wine is made actually has an impact on the bar.
I didn't know that. I just learned something.
So
That is interesting.
what I love about these podcasts is it gets me reading about all this stuff. It's like,
No, for sure. And
you
it
start
was,
getting nerdy on it,
the bubbles, since we're talking about bubbles, I think one of the funniest stories of champagne is that they didn't want the bubbles. It's just that it was too cold, and the fermentation would go dormant, but it wouldn't finish. It still had a long ways to go, but it just went dormant because it was too cold. And then they put it in bottles, and then it started fermenting again and blew up all the bottles. So they actually sent Mr. Monk, Dom Perignon, up there to figure out how to get the bubbles out
to fix it,
of the wine, to fix it. No joke. His job was to get the bubbles out of the wine.
That's funny that is now the trademark of
one of the best bubbled wines.
I mean,
right.
And his job was to get them out.
Exactly.
I guess I guess his job went the way of AI
Yeah, could be.
jobs.
Right.
AI learned how to make the bubbles and take the bubbles away, and the humans are out.
Yeah.
So, do you get, I'm not getting it as much as the first time I had this. It's not nearly, I really found it as being a little off dry, first bottle I had, but it's a straight up brut, I guess. But a little bit of sweetness I'm finding more and more in places. So people are dabbling back into it a little bit, and there's a place for that.
A lot.
I mean, I love super sweet wines. I love, Ice Vine and Tokai and, Sautowns and things like that. I mean, they're excellent.
Cool.
And of course, Champagne, all bubblies kind of have, they wear two dresses. They're just a dang good wine to drink, but they also have that other sexy dress of being a celebration wine. So if you want to have the flutes or the coupes for a festival, for a celebration of some sort, by all means, go ahead. But if you're really drinking the champagne just for the flavor in the wine, this is the right glass.
Really?
Yeah. The little tiny flute doesn't let it breathe enough. The coupe lets it breathe too much. And you all do know where the coupe came from, right?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, the coupe. You know what the coupe. You know how it's shaped, right?
Where chickens
Like
live.
Well, it's
like a martini glass,
Yeah.
really, but
kind of, but
flat
it's
bowl
only
on it,
about that. Yeah, and it's
Yeah.
about that big around. That
Yeah.
was a perfect mold of Marie Antoinette's right breast.
Really?
Not kidding.
I had no idea.
So, which begs to ask what the flute is designed after. But anyway, the coupe lets it breathe too much, and the flute doesn't let it breathe enough. And the proper glass, if you're really in it for the flavor, is a white wine. Any white wine glass will
I
do.
think it's a great way to show off it the next time you're having a party, and you can share that little morsel because it's pretty cool. Hey everybody, thank you so much again. Don't forget, if you want to learn more about the El Paso Wine Fest, go to elpasowinefest.com. This is 9 and Wine. This is Mike Hackett. This is Chris Lane. I'm Andy Watley. We appreciate you watching, and
Cheers.
come back for the next one.
Cheers.